Well, I could make a joke about this archetype, but I simply think you wouldn't understand it. Oh. Welcome, custom card fans. My name is Aurora, and I'm here to present Archetype Spotlight. This ongoing series will see a spotlight shine on some of the hundreds of custom strategies, archetypes, and support that you can find on the server. We'll explore the beloved and the forgotten, the barely viable and the meta-defining, the decks that make EXU, well, EXU. Today we'll be taking a look at, can you tell this deck was made by a Subterror player? Let's dive in to Cole's Und. Und is a flip control and link summoning deck, and surprisingly makes the two gel together really nicely. Each of its main deck monsters have a pair of effects that allow them to summon themselves face down to each field when it's link material or destroyed, and the Und link monsters have the ability to use those monsters gifted to your opponent as link material for their summons, and trigger their on-flip effects, which will apply for both players, but usually only benefit you. Traditionally, the deck has had a massive Achilles heel. The links are by far the most potent part of the strategy, and you need to have Und Market on the field in order to summon them. This problem has been solved in the past by using the Punk engine in order to effectively climb to the Desert Wanderer, a level 8 synchro that searches for a field spell. I, however, have elected to ignore this issue entirely and simply open well every game, which surely will not be an issue. Und has seen relatively little competitive representation, boasting an unimpressive 1/3 win rate across all mediums. At this time, the deck was played with Punk, Therion, and other powerful Earth TCG decks, and I have decided to continue in that trend with a more recent arrival. Let's take a look at the list. This is the list, and sometimes I do wonder why I decide to make these myself instead of asking the original creators for them. Naturally, when we're looking for powerful Earth monsters to slot into a deck, one has to look no further than Vernisylph. These Earth fairies have been in every Naturia, Ishizu, and Madolche deck ever since they learned to walk, and oh boy, do these cards sprint before they walk. Let's get right into the card by card, starting with the Und cards. All of the monsters share a multitude of effects. They can be special summoned from the hand if you control no face-up cards, and flip themselves face down after doing so, and all have the following lines of text. If this card is used as link material or destroyed while in its owner's possession, special summon this card to your opponent's field in face down defense position. If this card is used as link material or destroyed while not in its owner's possession, special summon this card to your field in face down defense position. Simply put, they rotate which side of the field they're on every time they're popped or used as link material, which hopefully will be able to do a lot. The last effect they all have is an effect that triggers on flip. Und Brian allows each player to summon a monster from the hand face down. Und Dean allows each player to add an Und monster or Und Market from the deck to the hand. Und Judy allows each player to pick 2 cards from their opponent's decks to add to their opponent's hand. Wait, that one actually does benefit your opponent. And Und Erlu allows each player to shuffle back link monsters and set monsters from the graveyard equal to the number of monsters sent back to the extra deck. After that, the Und Spell and Trap lineup is relatively simple. 3 copies of Und Contract of Protection, which gatekeeps our non-Earth monsters, rotors for both an Und Market and an Und Monster, and allows us to banish a face-down monster as material for a link monster once per turn. With all this talk of Market, let's take a look at what it does. It has 2 effects that allow you to draw 2 cards, but both add a sacrifice. The first forces you to spin a link monster and give 2 of your face-down monsters to your opponent, whereas the second rips 2 Unds directly from your hand to your opponent's field. But remember, we want our opponents on our opponent's field. Wait. We want our monsters on our opponent's field. The last playset of Und cards we are playing are 3 copies of Undoing the Competition, which is a absolutely terrible card. But it searches Market, and Market has to be on the field to summon the links. A trap we actually want to search is Und Ambush, a solemn warning by returning 2 Und Link monsters from the graveyard into the extra deck. If it's sent to the graveyard on the opponent's turn, it can also extend into a Link summon by summoning an Und to our opponent's field. I don't doubt we're all familiar with Vernisylph cards, but just in case, these fuzzy fairies all trigger by discarding themselves and a monster or Vernisylph card to activate an effect and reborn an Earth from the graveyard. Awakening Forest sends an Earth from the deck to the graveyard, Flourishing Hills searches a Vernisylph, Misting Seedlings searches an Earth Fairy, and Thawing Mountains draws a card. Vera, the Vernisylph Goddess, is a negate on resolution if you have 5 or more Earth monsters, a Change of Heart, and a quick effect reborn for the strongest target in the deck, 1 Barrier Statue of the Drought. Rounding out the main deck are 3 copies of Infinite Impermanence as Ash and company struggle to get through contract, and a lone copy of Terraforming as a 10th way to access market. The extra deck is primarily composed of Und cards, chief amongst which is Verdant. This is a Link 1 that, on summon, will either flip face down an opponent's monster, or flip face up an opponent's face down monster, which all makes sense, I promise, and then search an Und spell if it flipped an Und. The other Link 1 is Und Pike, which we will be seeing very, very frequently in combination with Verdant, who can, once per turn, special summon an Und monster from the hand or deck face down if the material you use to summon it is no longer in the graveyard. I wonder where it could have gone. It's also able to be summoned by using a face-down defense position monster you control as material. There's an Und Link 2 and Link 3 that follow in each of these steads as well. The upgraded Verdants are first Und Booms, which flips 2 and gains 600 if there's an Und among them, then finally Und Krumar, who flips 3, gains 600 if there's an Und, and has an additional quick effect to Book of Moon an opponent's monster. The upgraded Pikes start with Shen, who summons a monster from the hand or graveyard and gains 500 attack, and finally Und Marn, who attacks all of your opponent's defense position monsters, deals piercing battle damage, and once per turn gains 1900 attack if his materials are no longer in the graveyard, leading him to be an exceptional game ender. The rest of the extra deck are all Earth monsters that we can play. Baguska, Giant Hand, and Jaja are all enabled by the levels that we have with the Vernisylphs, but we can also use Und Judy and Und Urlu as materials, where Battalion Buster is just the first strong Earth Link 4 I could find, and it functions well as a walking imperm column. For the side deck we have 3 evenly matched for going second, as well as 3 Lava Golem, as we don't usually use the normal summon. In case things turn really south, we also have the entire Ishizu package. 3 Mudora, 3 Keldo, 1 Kelbeck, 1 Agido, and 1 Gravekeeper's Trap. With Subterror Guru nothing but a distant memory, let's see how Und can do in a match. This is the match that was played between me on Und Vernisylph versus Ake, who is playing... What's Ake playing? I've already forgotten. We'll find out together. That's all the fun. It is at least a 40 card deck, and with Ake that's not always a guarantee. Sprite Melfi! It's Sprite Melfi! Okay then, so we're going to be starting off. We did win the rock, paper, scissors, and we're going to start off with a terraforming. This terraforming is going to grab us under market, which is obviously very important for us to continue our plays. We're then going to activate the Under Market and then trigger the effect in the hand of Under Judy, which actually isn't an activated effect, but, you know, we can... It's not an activated effect, just ignore that. We're then going to link it off, the face down card for the Under Pike. Then we're going to trigger the effect of the Judy in the graveyard and special summon it to our opponent's field. This will then mean that Under Pike can trigger, since the monster that was used for summon it is no longer in the graveyard. We can summon from the deck the Under Dean. We're then going to link off the Pike to summon the Under Verdant, and then we're going to trigger a Verdant, flipping up our opponent's Under Judy and adding Under Ambush from our deck to our hand. Then we're going to link off that, no, we're not going to link off the Under Dean. Literal cheating! Pike is a once per turn summon, for whatever reason. Instead, we're going to simply just set the Awakening Forest from the hand face down, and then link off into an Und Shen, and trigger the effect in the graveyard of the Und Dean, special summoning it to our opponent's field in face down defense position. Then we're going to link off the Und Shen to summon an Und Booms, und flip face up and face down both of these cards in order to just get the bit of the little flip flop going, and then we'll trigger the effect of Under Dean that was flipped up by our opponent to have from the deck to the hand the Und Urlu. We're then going to link off the Undine and the Undverdant to summon our big end boss monster here, Krumar, about as much disruption that we can get in Und. It's a Book of Moon that our opponent gets to choose. We're just going to flip face down the Undine so we can use it later, set 3, and we'll end our turn. Ake is going to start off by drawing a Melfi Puppy. That's a pretty good card. And let's get wavy. We're going to normal summon Catty, special summon red, special summon blue, trigger blue. We are, in fact, Sprite Gaming. The face downs we have are double Imperm and Ambush, so these Imperms are eventually going to do something, but it just doesn't really matter too much with this Und blue currently. And then Undine will get flipped up as well as Judy, but Judy is an optional effect, so... And it does have to be triggered by the person flipping it up, unfortunately. Undine doesn't, Brian doesn't, and Erlu doesn't, just Judy. That's actually fair. Ake is then going to link off all 3 in order to summon a Nightmare Unicorn. That's going to pitch one to spin the back row. I'm going to chain link 2 Undine and chain link 3 Judy, since they were sent to the graveyard in my opponent's possession for a link summon. And then I'll chain Infinite Impermanence, negating the Nightmare Unicorn. In retrospect, should have just negated the red. There was no reason to negate the Unicorn there, since the Imperm was going anyway. But, you know, that's how we're doing. That's how we're doing it. So we're going to summon these 2 down, and then that's going to trigger the effect of the Melfi Catty, special summon bouncing itself back into the hand, and adding from the deck to the hand a beast monster, which is going to be here, I think the Sealy. Oh, Penny, that's it. That's what his name is, yeah, Penny. So we're going to grab Melfi Penny. Then we're going to special summon the Sprite Carrot, and special summon the Sprite Jet, trigger Jet, and we're going to search for a Smashers. The funny thing about Smashers is that this has an effect to special summon a Springen's monster from the deck, or a Therion monster from the graveyard, which means the Ambush can negate it. I just think that's quite funny. Melfi Penny's effect is going to activate in the hand, special summoning itself, and then synchro summoning with another Melfi in the hand, Melfi Catty, in order to summon the Merry Melfis. Then we're going to trigger the effect of this. Then we're going to trigger this Merry Melfis in order to try and bounce us under Krumar. We're going to negate that with the Infinite Impermanence. That's then going to get followed up by an overlay into Sandayu, or not. We're going to, yeah, no, we don't want a Sandayu yet. We're still thinking. Sprite Smash is going to be activated, paying the cost of banishing a Sprite Blue and being negated by the Imperm column. The final overlay here is going to be the Melfis, or Melfi of the Forest, which is then going to use its effect to detaching the Sprite Jet in order to add from the deck to the hand a Melfi card. That's going to be Melfi Tag. Did I say this was the last one of the turn? Oh, I was lying. No. Melfi Tag's effect is going to try and special revive a Melfi Birdie, and we are instead going to activate Under Ambush, negating it by shuffling back Shen and Booms into the extra deck. Then, as a mandatory effect, Under Ambush is going to trigger. We're going to special summon from our hand the Erlu to our opponent's field, and then link summon using our Dean and Judy in order to summon an Shen. Then we're going to trigger the effect of Dean in order to special summon a monster to our opponent's field, in order to special summon itself to our opponent's field, which is then going to trigger the Merry Melfis. Since I did, in fact, special summon a monster, it will be able to return itself to the extra deck and then special summon a Xyz monster from the extra deck. So it's basically just tagging itself out, and we're going to be summoning here the Joyous Melfis. Over you go, Undine. Behave yourself. Next is going to be a banish of the Melfi Birdie from the graveyard in order to use the effect of the... I can't tell what this card's name is because of the fucking recapture. Citrama, Mystical Beast of the Forest. It's going to... by banishing a level 2 beast from the grave, allow you to overlay this over a level 2 monster. And it's just a targeted negation piece. This is literally just Decode Talker. This is just Decode Talker. It's also just an absolute mag. So we're going to overlay this with our other rank 2 here, the Melfis of the Forest, in order to summon the future mag XX Absolute Xyz Emperor, which is just a pop. This is a pop 1. Here we're going to see Joyous Melfis attacking into the Unshem, which I'm going to let go through. And then Absolute Mech Xyz Emperor is going to trigger to pop my Underkrumar after attacking, and Emperor also locks out cards and effects until the end of the damage step if it battles, which means that Underkrumar literally cannot do anything. I will take 1450 from this, no, not 1450, sorry, 1475 from this Absolute Mech, and a fat 2200 from the Nightmare Unicorn. In the end phase, the effect of Penny is going to activate, allowing it to be attached to the Joyous Melfies as a material, and this puts Ake in a very strong position, summoning the Puppy to the field as well. I'm going to draw a card, undoing the competition. Special summon from my hand in face down defense position under Brian, which is then going to get immediately trigger chain 2 by Absolute Mech Xyz Emperor, popping the Unmarket, and that means that I just lose the game at this point. Anything else that happens from here just doesn't matter, because that's the end of the game. This deck is very, very reliant on Undermarket because you need it to summon any of your Link monsters, which I was about to do using both of Cole's face down monsters, as well as the one of my own. In any case, this is game 2, and we're going to start off again by using Terraforming to search for an Undermarket. We're then going to activate Unmarket and use its effect this time, special summoning the Under Judy and the Under Urlu to our opponent's field and face down defense position, drawing 2 cards, and those are not what we want to see, oh my goodness. We'll set the Venusaur for the Flourishing Hills and send to the graveyard the Judy in order to summon the Under Shen, and then we're going to activate the effect of Under Judy, special summoning it to our field in face down defense position. We'll then link off the Judy and summon a Under Pike, and use the effect of the Judy in the graveyard, special summoning it to our opponent's field in face down defense position, then using the effect of Pike, allowing us to special summon from the deck the Under Dean. We'll then link off the Pike and summon a Verdant, and use Verdant's effect to flip face up the Urlu. And then we're going to add from the deck to the hand the Under Ambush, and then we'll trigger the effect of Urlu, shuffling Pike back into the extra deck in order to special summon from the graveyard in face down defense position Venusaur of the Flourishing Hills. We'll then link off the Under Shen in order to summon Under Booms and use its effect, flipping down that Under Urlu and flipping up our Under Dean. Then we can trigger the effect of Under Dean in order to search from our deck to the hand the Under Brian. Finally, we'll set 4 cards, link off these 2 for an Underkrumar, and Underkrumar's just going to flip face down the Dean and flip face up the Urlu just for funsies and pass the turn. Aki's going to draw for turn. It's an Ash Blossom and Joy of Spring. Would have been nice to have that last turn, I'd imagine, in order to negate the Undermarket. And Aki's just going to look at the hand and scoop it all up. Ooh, Under at least getting 1 proper victory under its belt. I think that was a really good showing of what the deck can do just on its own, even without the Venusaur cards. Even though I do believe that the Venusaur cards do offer a element of also a consistency that Und otherwise currently lacks. Here, Ake has not drawn a particularly lavish opener, and he is instead going to go straight to the end phase and trigger the effect of Melfi Catty in the hand, special summoning it from the hand in defense and passing the turn. We're going to draw, and it's undoing the competition, which is in fact a way to access a market, but unfortunately there's not really much we can do with it. We are going to trigger this Venusaur for the Flourishing Hills, pitching itself and the Lava Golem from the hand in order to search for the Venusaur of the Thawing Mountains. And what we really want to draw off the top here is an Und monster. Can we see an Und monster, please? Oh, goodness. Discarding the Thawing Mountains and the Und Urlu, and we are going to draw an Und monster right now. Hey, that's an Und monster. We are going to special summon back from the graveyard this Und Urlu. And that is then going to trigger the effect of the Melfi Catty, and it's going to bounce itself to the hand and search for a beast monster to add from the deck to the hand, which is going to be the Melfi Wally. Then we're going to trigger the effect of undoing the competition, activating it by discarding Unjudy, and yeah, maybe just the one Und monster wasn't actually enough to do it. Next is going to be a trigger of the Melfi Penny in the hand, synchro summoning using itself and the Melfi Catty in order to summon the Herald of the Arc Light, which is annoying for sure, but not the end of the world. We're going to set 2 and we're going to pass, not wanting to activate the market unless we make it vulnerable to disruption. And Ake is going to pop off, normal summoning Calantosa, special summoning Carrot. Then we're going to overlay the Carrot and the Calantosa to summon the Melfi of the Forest, detaching the Carrot from it in order to add from the deck to the hand the Melfi tag. Then we're going to activate from the hand the Melfi tag in order to special summon from the graveyard the Melfi Penny. Penny. Next is going to be a banish off the Melfi Catty from the graveyard in order to summon the, against Citrama. And then overlay the Citrama and the Melfi of the Forest in order to summon the absolute mech, the future mech Ixie's Emperor. Its effect is going to trigger in order to send to the graveyard the Under Ambush. Its effect is mandatory in order to, quote-unquote, special summon a monster from your hand or field. So I have summoned a monster from my field to my opponent's field. But yes, it is a mandatory effect. Hilariously. Battle phase, this absolute mech is going to attack into the Flourishing Hills, destroying it with ease. Then it's going to be a set and a pass, and in the end phase, the Wally will trigger in order to special summon itself from the hand in face, not in face down defense position as much as I would like it to, in very much face up defense position. We are going to draw. It is an unduty, but I don't think that's going to be quite enough to do anything. The reason why there's not enough to do anything is because Market would just immediately get popped to buy the XX Absolute Ixie's Emperor. What a shame. Honestly, I don't think playing this deck with either Venusaur or Punk Therion is the right idea. I think there are just too few Undermonsters to play it pure though, which is why I would suggest one of those variants, but the strongest this deck felt was when it only used the undercards. There's definitely a lot of potential here, though perhaps also a lot to gain Ruling's headaches from. My therapist told me special summoning monsters from my field to my opponent's field wasn't real. She lied. That'll be it anyway for today's Archetype Spotlight. Please be sure to like the video if you enjoyed, tell us what you thought down in the comments, and subscribe if you want to see more content. Remember to turn on the notification bell as well so you won't miss a single upload. There's a link in the description to join our Discord server, where you too can explore the vast array of cards we have to offer, play competitively or casually, and chat with other custom card creators around the world. Thank you very much for watching, and we'll see you next time.